Ever since I can remember, my dad has been teaching driver's ed. I've always looked up to my parents, and watching them drive was one of the main reasons I actually wanted to grow up. Now that I'm old enough, I realize that driving is not that big of a deal, and many young people nowadays feel the same way, like it's a right to have their license and not a privilege. Teens usually feel as if they are invincible and nothing could go wrong to them, but that is a problem. When I started this topic, the first thing that came to my mind was how worried I get when my friends text and drive or drive late at night. I personally haven't been in an accident, but I know a few of my friends have, and it's nothing to joke about. Although their accidents weren't life-threatening, they're still very serious and also very nerve-wracking. It is said that the driving age should be raised due to lack of experience, but in reality, it is because of how the brain and body function. That being said, the driving age should be raised to 18. As many of you have heard from my last few speeches and what you've seen on TV and heard from your parents, that the driving age should be raised due to lack of experience. In fact, that isn't true. It needs to be raised because due to the way the brain and body develop. There are over 2,000 people killed and 200,000 injured every year due to car accidents. I'm sure many of you know the quote I've used the past two speeches by Crystal Lombardo that states, if you have 2+ years of experience versus having less than that, then you're twice as likely to not wreck. I'm sure you also heard the speech, or also heard the saying that practice makes perfect. Yeah, that may be the case in sports, but is that also the case while driving? In fact, the CDC did a study that showed that experience is a factor in the driving, but it isn't the #1 factor in it. Many believe that drivers need more experience, but that is not the case. The reality of it is the frontal lobe of the brain is not developed until a later stage in life. According to researchers, young teens are more dangerous on the roads due to their brains not being all the way developed. They say the frontal lobe of the brain, which controls emotion, risk-taking, and decision-making, does not mature until age 25. Raising the age to 25 would obviously be a bit absurd, but moving it back 2 years would help the brain develop a lot more. A professor in Arizona did an experiment where he split 18 teens into 2 groups and gave each individual an assessment to score personality, attitude, confidence, and risk-taking. The 2 teams consisted of 9 people each. The first team consisted of 16-year-olds, and the second consisted of 18-year-olds. Both teams only had their license for under 1 month, so the experience could not have affected the experiment. After the experiment was over, the 18-year-olds won by what their emotions, attitudes, confidence, and risk-taking showed. It was said that the younger teens were much more aggressive while they drove, while the older teens were much more calm and held their composure well. That is one of the best points to why the age should be raised. If the age was raised, it would give time for white matter, which is in the back of the brain, to spread throughout the brain. Once the matter spreads, it helps brain cells communicate more effectively and provide help to the brain to make smarter and more responsible decisions. Hopefully, as you can see, the age needs raised because of multiple reasons. The risk of motor vehicle accidents is higher among 15 to 17-year-olds than any other age group. In fact, per mile driven, teens at age 16 are nearly 3 times more likely than drivers age 18 to be in a fatal crash. So as you can see, something definitely needs to be done. Many teens really need to look into what they're actually getting themselves into. There have been states who have raised their driving age, but not all the way to age 18. As a general public, we can make a driving age, but raising it will most likely not happen. Having your license is fun and all until you hurt someone or are a nervous wreck when you get in an accident. Driving is an adult responsibility, and you need to be able to stay calm and handle situations that may occur. What I encourage all of you and many other young teens across the nation to do is wait until the time is right. Only you know when you are mature enough to handle a car and be put in stressful situations. Your parents don't know how your body and mind think, and that is why you should make the decision for yourself.
It 16 and a half like the national age to drive, or is it, does it matter for, like, does each state have their own age?
There's not like a nationally like age limit. Like each state like is different. So like in the bigger cities, it's like higher due to like the amount of accidents. But like if you go like out west, like where it's not like the population's kind of lower, and the driving age like is lower.
Do you know any states that it is 18 in?
No, there's no states like in the United States. There's no one that is 18. But like there's some across like in the west that are like under 15.
So since you said like we need like more experience or whatever, do you think that the driver's ed classes should like go like more over a course of time? Like
I feel like it needs to, but I feel like driver's ed only does like my dad personally, like he does it like during the day, and it's usually like not bad. Like if it's like rain or like snow or something, like it doesn't like, they don't do that. They don't, I feel like no one has experience in that either, so like environments too. Elizabeth?
Do you think it should be taught in school?
Personally, yeah, I feel like it'd be more, people would be like, I feel like everybody would get the chance to take it then, not only like people that could afford it or people like, I guess like something like that.
do you think they should take away the option, like make it mandatory to take driver's ed instead of like having the option to just take a test?
Yes and no. I feel like driver's ed should be required, but I know people that can't obviously afford it. So, I mean, you can't like make people take it when it costs so much.
So then, since it does cost so much, should they make it state funded or like federally funded?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that would help, or at least some people. I mean, personally, I think taking driver's ed is good. I mean, back in the old days when people like drove all the time, I mean, it wasn't that big of a deal. But nowadays, I feel like kids don't really know what they're doing. So.
What's more important, a long span of time of like practice, or waiting until you're older, or is it a combination of both?
I feel like it's a combination of both. I mean, I feel like experience helps, but I feel like obviously if you're 15 and you're with your friends, I feel like you're going to be more susceptible to doing something dumb than if you were 20 and with your friend. I feel like you'd just be more mature, I guess. But I feel like it's a combination of both.
If you would have waited till you were 18 to drive, do you think you would have been more comfortable behind the wheel?
Yeah, like I said, I mean, I've never like been in an accident, but I feel like, I mean, like I've been like in situations where I've driven the city or something, and like I just don't really feel comfortable. Like driving like here, it's not that bad, but I feel like if you wait and like and have more experience, then you'd be more comfortable in like unknown situations and stuff like that.